Hello guys and welcome to another video. In this video we are going to talk about Lunarbits. The project has been a newly launched project. I mean it's not an old project, and I'm making this video because it was trending today on coingecko, so I thought that it should make a video about it. Now let's get into the details of this project. The market cap is nearly $37 million. The fully diluted valuation is also nearly $37 million. Circulating supply and total supply are same, which means that the project is more likely to be a community driven project, a community centric project. So the entire success and failure of this project will depend on the community. So we'll have to understand the importance of community, and that's what we'll also discuss uh, in this video. Now let's go to the website and let's try to understand a few more details about the project. Lunarbits, a Bitcoin token built on the Runes protocol, is a community project of space, art, music, and Bitcoin lovers. The community celebrates the historic event when Lunarbits QR code embedded digital artifacts launched atop the SpaceX Falcon 9 in a private payload and landed in a time capsule on the moon on February 2024. The popular space art and music community is famous for celebrating alongside the Bitcoin industry music festivals, art fairs, digital collectible meetups, and space themed events. Lunarbits is a made in USA crypto based project deployed as a digital asset meme token and is part of the 2025 and beyond industry initiatives to promote and protect Bitcoin ordinals, collectibles, and Bitcoin meme token innovation when used for entertainment, art, music, and collectibles. Lunarbits has no official founders and is deployed as an entirely community-driven project with a DAO roadmap for its future. So basically, this is more like a community-centric, a community-driven project, and these are some of the further more details which you can go on their website. You can also read the white paper and try to understand it more, but basically more or less you can understand that this is going to be a community driven project, and the community uh, is going to be the key factor for the success of this project. So which means is that you will have to ask some questions that whether this project will survive in the long term or not, because that is going to be the key factor. If the community is going to be uh, s- uh, I would say the community will it be surviving in the long term, because if the project will not survive in the long term, then automatically the price will go down. There have been many cryptocurrency projects in the past which were really cool, really great, but because of the weaker community, the projects failed, and they failed miserably. So that is going to be the case for this project as well. So now I will also try to explain this few things with the help of chess, because the game of chess is basically the symbol of long term thinking, long term calculations. And here also, when it comes to lunar bits, you will have to understand that the community has to be very long term thinker. I would say the community members need to be long term thinkers. They will have to be very much uh, in the game for a longer period of time, because there will be lots and lots of ups and downs in the market during the journey. So this is basically one of my chess games which I played before recording this video. So here, as you can see, this is a sign which shows you whether it is a good move or a bad move. Right now it shows the book move, because these are all the book moves. I'll just skip a few moves. So from here now, as you can see, uh, that now the game has started here. This is an excellent move which my opponent has put his bishop here, which is an excellent move. Of course, the best move here is this putting his knight here. So now why the engine says that this is the best move? Engine says this is the best move because it is going to help my opponent amazingly in the long term. This is the best move which creates value in the long term. So the same rule applies here for the lunar bits as well. The community, the project will have to be, a very long term centric project. It cannot be a short term project. If the project will be a short term project, then automatically the project is more likely to fail, and that's the reason why survival and slow and steady growth is going to be the most important thing. And that's the reason why you'll have to analyze the project with the long term approach. If you think that this project is not going to be a long term approach, a long term project, then automatically this project is more likely to fail, because there are lots of cryptocurrency projects which are already dead. They do not even survive for 3 4, probably 5 months. So that is the harsh reality. And that's what chess teaches us. It teaches us the best moves are basically the moves which are, pretty much long term uh, centric, more long term thinking moves. So this is the best move because it creates value in the long term. Anyways, my opponent didn't play it. I mean, he played an excellent move which is equivalent to the best move, but not the best move. Then I played this move because this allows my bishop to move here, and gradually I can also do castling. So that's the reason why it is the best move. So basically, again, the best move, it is the best move because it allows me to think. It shows that this is the move which creates massive value in the long term. That's the reason why it is the best move, because my bishop can move from here, knight can also come into the game, king can also go for castling and stuff like that. So it creates value in the long term. So again, that same rule of long term thinking is coming into the play. So the lunar bits foundation, the lunar bits community will have to constantly think about, growing the project, how they can create value in the long term. And as an investor, again, nothing in this video is an investment advice, but the point is that as an investor also, if you're analyzing any project, not just lunar bits but any cryptocurrency project, then your goal has to be to think long term, whether this project is going to survive in the long term or not. That is going to be your a focal point of analysis. So anyways, game continued, and here he played this move, which is again an excellent move, but the best move is capturing this knight. And then I played this move, which is clearly an inaccuracy. Here, the best move was simply to put my bishop back here, because now the knight will be unpinned, and I will be able to continue the game here from this point in a much better way, rather than which I played here. This move is not that great move. This was the best move because it creates value in the long term. So now this move doesn't create that much value in the long term as this move, putting the bishop back. So that is the reason why this is the best move, because it creates value in the long term. So this again, this rule of long term thinking applies here. As an investor, we have to be, very conservative, because the more conservative we are, more likely we are to think long term. So again, you will have to think whether this project is going to be surviving in the long term. If you are analyzing this project, that is going to be the key factor. If the project will not survive in the long term, then there won't be, any growth in the price of the token. There won't be any real growth in the community. There won't be any kind of growth. So the reality has to be that the project survives in the long term. Now here, the game continued, and then he puts his bishop here. Now again, I played this move, which is the best move, because it kicks this bishop back, and that's the reason why it is the best move, and it creates value in the long term. He goes here. Now here there is a slight change here. He puts his bishop here, but instead putting bishop here is the best move. It creates more value. So slight difference. He puts his bishop here, but the best move was here because it creates more value in the long term. So again, the same rule applies, the rule of long term approach. So as an investor, you guys will have to continuously think that how can this project continuously grow, how can this project can have a steady growth, how can this project grow in the long term. I'm talking about 5 years, 10 years. Does it have any that kind of approach? Does it have that kind of community which will survive even after 10 years? Because forget about 10 years, even after 3 years, forget about 3 years, even after 3 months, there are many cryptocurrency project which were trending in the on coingecko for 1 month or 2 months, and then they turned out to be exit scam or dead communities and stuff like that. And because of that, just after a couple of months, the projects uh, stopped growing, and then it was just a downward spiral for many cryptocurrency projects. So even for Lunarbits, you will have to make sure that it survives for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because the successful projects have long term solid potentials. For example, Bitcoin has been on the number one ranking since last, I think, 16 years now. uh, it launched in at the end of 2008, or somewhere around that. So it is almost 16, 17 years now that the Bitcoin is on the top. So you see that these projects are here, will be here for a pretty long period of time. I mean, Bitcoin is going to be here even after 100 years. Ethereum has almost completed 10 years, more than 10 years, I guess, 11, 12 years probably. Solana is also going to be here for a pretty long period of time. So all these projects are going to be here for a pretty long period of time because they can survive the ups and downs. They have that kind of utility, they have that kind of value they create for the community, for cryptocurrency users. So all the successful projects have long term potentials, and they have survived in the past for over a decade, and they are probably going to survive for at least a couple of decades. Since in some cases it is going to be even more than that. So the projects generally which succeed, they have a pretty solid long term background, and they also have pretty solid uh, future, a long-term future based on their past. So here also, the probably one of the best ways to judge any cryptocurrency project is that one should definitely wait for the project to survive. Maybe probably if this project survives for next 3 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, then probably after that one can think of investing into the project, because right now the project is newly launched, and when a project is newly launched, it becomes really really hard to judge. Again, I'm not against any cryptocurrency project, but there has to be a steady growth. If there is a steady growth in the past, then you can think that the project will have a steady growth in the in the future. For example, Coca-Cola, Warren Buffett bought the stocks of Coca-Cola because the Coca-Cola company grew consistently for many decades before he bought the stocks of Coca-Cola in 1988, and since then the company is growing consistently as well. So it had a very solid past, and because of that, uh, because of, and of course, the other skills which Warren Buffett had of analyzing the companies, he mixed those things with the past record, and things worked out pretty well for him. So the same rule applies here as well. You guys will have to make sure that the project uh, is has some sort of solid stable background. Right now the project Lunarbits, even though many people can be very much positive about this project and stuff like that, but the thing is that one has to have certain level of history before we can judge. It is just like being friends with someone whom you don't know. You don't know what kind of background he has, what kind of friends your friend have, and all that stuff, from which uh, community he is coming. So it is just like doing a lot of gamble. So here also, uh, one should, I think that one should wait a bit. Again, nothing this in this video is an investment advice, but let one should think about letting the things settle down and then probably judge the project. I think the projects which has a very solid steady growth in the past are more likely to continue growing in the future. Most of the cryptocurrency projects do not provide a solid certain level of steady growth of the past. Anyways, now so the game continued here as well. So now after here I this move. Again, this is not a great move which I played. Instead, here the move which creates long-term value is putting the knight here, because gradually when my opponent captures this bishop, I can capture it with a pawn and then my knight can settle here, which is a very solid, very powerful square. But I was really scared about this double pawns, which would not help me in the long term. That's what my thinking, but my long term calculations were wrong. Here the best move simply was putting the knight here and then settling it down, and that would be pretty disastrous for white in the long term. I mean, it would be way better than the move which I played, putting the bishop here. So here the best move apparently was simply putting the knight here. This was the best move, which this would have created a massive value in the long term. So again, you see that's why it is the best move, because the knight can settle down here and it creates massive value in the long term. So the same rule again applies for the lunar bits. You guys will have to, as an, if somebody is a cryptocurrency investor and he's thinking that he wants to invest in lunar bits, then probably you guys will have to wait for certain level of history which we just discussed. But apart from that, one should also think about how can uh, uh, the project will survive in the ups and downs of the market, because bitcoin is pretty wild. Bitcoin goes 30-50% up easily and goes crashes 50% very easily as well. And if you talk about altcoins, then the altcoins are even wilder. I mean, they can go up to 500% in a month up, and then probably they go down 700% in couple of weeks sometimes. So pretty wild market. As you guys know, cryptocurrency is a pretty wild market. So here also, during these ups and downs of the market, will the price stability will be there? Will there be a stable growth? Will there be a massive value backing this project up? Will there be a real utility behind lunar bits? If there will be real utility, then automatically the growth will be steady and the project will survive in the long term. So you guys will have to, as an investor, one will have to think about, is there real value backing the project up? If there is a real value backing the project up, then automatically the project will keep growing. But if there is no real value backing the project up, then the project's growth is, it's going to be pretty shaky, pretty shady, if you think that way, if you think in those words. So there has to be utility. For example, ethereum has certain level of utility. That's the reason why it has been surviving and it has been growing amazingly. And the bitcoin is a different story. Bitcoin has utilities, but bitcoin is more about store of value, and the bitcoin has the first movers advantage, which most of the cryptocurrency projects do not have. So uh, Bitcoin is a different story, but apart from that, if you take projects like Solana, Cardano, probably, or Polygon, Matic, or any other cryptocurrency project, Ethereum, of course, in the list, they all have different utilities, different value backing the project up. Because when there is utility, there is value backing the project up. There are also coins like USDC. I'm not talking about Tether, because Tether always has been shady. But if you talk about projects like USDC, then USDC has also certain level of value, and that's how the price is stable at $1. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is certain level of value behind each and every project, and that's what uh, drives the utility and vice versa. So here also for lunar bits there has to be a certain level of real utility, because if there is real utility, the real value backing it up, then the price is not going to fall as easily as other cryptocurrency projects price falls. Other tokens price, they fall massively. They just fall from the roof, or you can say fall from the cliff, I think, because there is no real utility, there is no real value backing it up. So the same rule applies here as well for lunar bits foundation. I mean, a lunar bits token, the token has to have, certain level of real utility. If there is real utility, then automatically the project is more likely to keep growing, because people see value in it. When there is a value behind something, the price cannot drop far from the actual real price, actual utility. So if there is actual utility, then the price is always going to be sticking around that utility area. I mean, the value driving that utility, at that value the price will always be there. It cannot go very far down from that point. So if only if there is solid utility. So all these things you guys will have to analyze when, if you guys are analyzing the lunar bits project. So now here again, if we see, the game was pretty long, but in the end I actually won the game. So actually this was, my opponent, these were the last moves of the game, and I'll just quickly show you, because if you are interested in knowing this game. So actually, this my opponent was clearly winning, but at the last point, he made this mistake. See here, because he was under, he just was thinking pretty quickly. Unfortunately, because he only had a minute, but here this was a mistake, putting his king here. Otherwise, he would have easily won the game. But he puts his king here, and I simply give this check, and it's a checkmate, because king cannot go here. Otherwise, I mean, this was a pretty short-term disastrous move. This is what happens when you think quickly, when you think short-term. So here also, for the lunar bits, if you guys will think short term, if you guys will think about a quick profit, then you are more likely to lose money rather than making any kind of money. So mostly people who are probably going to invest right now, probably mm, in the next 24 hours, those people are, I think they are going to be pretty much, uh, quick short-term thinkers, because there is no background of this project. There is no steady price proof for this project. The price proof has to be there. I mean, at least couple of years should be given to see this stable and steady growth for any cryptocurrency project before uh, judging any cryptocurrency project. But there will be people who are probably going to buy in the next 24 hours, and they would be in a hurry, because they were probably in a FOMO. I'm not saying that the price is going to go down only. Price can go up as well, but many people are going to be in the FOMO, and that's why they will buy. But it's going to be a very short term thing, because they are FOMOing basically. And when you FOMO, you think short term. That's the truth. Long term investors, they wait for, a stable history. They want to see stable history. The whales want to see stable history. So I think, if I was, uh, I would simply think about, I would simply wait for some time to see the actual, stability in the price, or stable growth of the project, and solid long term community, a community that is going to survive in the long term for next 10-15 years. If I have that belief that there will be, this community is going to survive for next 10-20 years, if it is going to be the case, then I would sincerely think about, investing a certain amount of money in this project. But this is what my thinking is, and I simply shared it with you. I think now that I should conclude the video. And if you really enjoyed this video, then you can like the video, you can subscribe to my channel, and you can also join my telegram. The link of my telegram channel will be in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.